So I would say a huge percentage of people that come through here are working folks. Another huge percentage of people that come here are on some kind of fixed income. So they've retired, they're trying to live on Social Security, not gonna make it. Or they're collecting disability because they have some kind of physical, developmental, mental health issue that will keep them from being able to work. They're bringing in $600 or $700 a month, not going to be able to make ends meet. So those are those are two pretty big groups of people that we see here. We've got the family folks, heads of household, and then we've got the individuals trying to live on a fixed income. And then everybody else sort of in between, from graduate students at UMass who have families. Well, even if you have a teaching assistantship, you're not going to be able to support your family. People who just lost their jobs, or some other family crisis where somebody in their family lost their jobs. So there's, people that come in here for a first time because of that, and they end up getting sort of sucked into the world of the Survival Center until they can figure out how to get out, get another job or whatever. But oftentimes they find themselves with a job, but the job isn't enough money to actually cover all their expenses. So they still keep on coming back to get what they can. So there's a lot of things like that that go on. People who come in here because they're new to the area. Maybe they've come from a different country and they don't speak English, or maybe they've moved here because they thought there would be opportunities here. They knew somebody at least, and so there was something that brought them here, but they don't quite have their life set up yet. So they come here to connect with people and get some things that they need. So it's a pretty wide spectrum. And then of course the folks that are homeless that sometimes fit into the category of they have some pretty significant disability that keep them from being able to have a job. So they're living on a fixed income, but they're not living in a home in a fixed income. They're living in a tent somewhere on a fixed income or something along those lines. But I think the dream would be to sort of be a place where everybody's needs can be met, and people can not only learn how to survive, but they can also learn how to thrive. And not only thrive within the confines of the Survival Center, but thrive outside of the Survival Center. So that would be our overall vision for this place. And sometimes it's about meeting people at really basic needs before they can even imagine thriving. Because it's a rural area, we don't have like the centralized services. Like if you need to go to Department of Transitional Assistance, you're going to Holyoke, which is like an hour and a half on a bus, and you're transferring a bus 2 to 3 times depending. So like that's a complication in terms of transportation. Like transportation is a huge issue for folks that are have no income. Some people don't have a car either, and so if it comes to trying to get services, if they're ready and wanting to do that, they need somebody to drive them around. So that's maybe an issue that exists in a rural area that doesn't exist so much in an urban area, where you can give somebody a bus pass. So one of the issues in this area in particular is that housing costs are really high. And so affordable housing is really hard to find. There's really long wait lists for any kind of affordable housing program. And actually, affordable housing, I think it's a problem not only in rural areas And the other thing that was really interesting was somebody that I know who used to be homeless who just got housing about 6 weeks ago. And he's so used to just learning, like every day is about survival, that he doesn't know what to do with his time right now because he doesn't have to worry about it. And so there is a transition that happens. There's actually a really fragile time for people who have been living on the streets for a number of years, because, what are they going to do with this time? How do you, and this is an issue for people who used to work and then lost their jobs. It's like, what do you do with your days? You can really spiral down pretty quickly. And so being sensitive to that is really important. It's one thing, it's a lot of shelters, depends on what kind of shelters, but some shelters will kick people out in the middle of the day, just to say, you need to have something other than just sitting around the house all day. But at the same time, you have to really have the supports, like, okay, what are they going to do? Are you going to teach them skills so that they can go out and get a job, or give them a place to go where they'll be welcome and they will feel useful and helpful and whatever? Because otherwise it's not really going to solve the problem for the individual.